Alrighty, man. We are recording, dude. Welcome to another episode over here on the Sangoma Society Conversations with Izzy. Honestly, the name isn't even full set in stone yet. We're still talking about it, but we're just going with it. This is uh, Raz. I'm actually meeting for the first time, but I heard awesome things about him. Why don't you introduce yourself, Raz? Tell us a little bit about who you are and how you're involved in the global psytrance scene.
Hi, Izzy. First of all, super nice to meet you like this in person, first time, face to face, and not only by messenger and by chat. Congratulations for your show. Sounds amazing. As a big supporter of Sangoma guys and Sangoma Records, I give my full respect to you and full support from my side for this great new podcast coming on. For everybody that don't know, I'm Raz Gaster from Israel. I've been in the last 6 years the manager of FM Booking Worldwide Booking, worked with every organization in the world, worldwide, with most of the artists in the world. I was part of the crew that did Sun Festival in 2013 and 2014 in Hungary, the two big editions of Sun Festival after the break from Ozora. Of course, we're working each year with Ozora, with Boom Festival, with all the lineups in the world. Possibly, I was doing in the last 5 years exclusively the lineup and bookings and full logistics and artist management for Sci-Fi Festival in Netherlands. Was involved many years in psytrance parties for production here in Israel, if for Groove Attack, if for Moksha, from selling tickets to being a partner in the production, the whole 9 yards.
Awesome, dude.
Uh,
Yeah, you mentioned Moksha, a good friend of mine. I didn't tell you. Pin Pin, maybe you know, me and my boy. Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Pinchos.
Dude, me and him, we're like buddy buddy, man. We go back some time from New York. Actually, his family lived like 2 blocks away from my apartment in New York City. So
Nice.
we used to hang out a lot of summers. He would come in, hang out. He's got a lot of siblings, so like he'll come for different events like bar mitzvah, marriage, whatever. Anytime he's coming in, I'm like, hell yeah, Pin Pin.
Pinpin is great, and also the whole crew there. That you have all the American crew from Moshe and all the other guys. Of course, as I worked with him, I was the one brought him to Sci-Fi Festival to play as well in one of the last editions, and many other friends that that we can contribute and bring them into the festivals and into slots that they wouldn't get unless they were friends or connected. And yeah, Pinpin is one of the great guys, always fun, always funny. Had so many good memories and good adventures with him.
He's one of those guys that like maybe you never met him before, but if you saw a picture of him and you were at any of the big festivals, you would remember exactly who he is. He just stands
It's
out,
the
dude.
hat, everybody remembers the hat and the beard.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, dude. Yeah. So tell me, how'd you get involved originally in all this behind the scenes stuff? Like what got you going? And like,
I started going to the psychedelic, to the psytrance parties around 97 when I was 14, 15 years old. Started, to know people and to go and party all over. From this,
Karahana,
I went
the
to
Karahana.
Karahana, everything. And then I started to sell tickets to Third Empire. Was working with them for a bit. It was one of the most legendary productions in Israel. They were doing only progressive trance parties when the progressive trance just started around 2004, 2006. Did a couple of festivals. Around 2006, I went to my first festival, Soul Clips in Turkey. It was an amazing experience that, it just blew my mind completely. And from this day, I was completely hooked. In 2006, I went out of Israel to live abroad a few years, was living in Mexico, and from Mexico I was traveling each winter to Brazil, to Universo Paralelo and the other festivals, and each summer to the festivals in Europe. And there, especially in Mexico, I started knowing all the promoters and all the Israeli DJs that were coming, as I was the Israeli there, always in the parties, and got to meet and know all the Israeli big artists and all the psytrance promoters, of course. If it's for Mexico, then in Europe, I was starting to meeting the European people, then the Brazilian people, and slowly, I started to know all the main people in the scene as I like, I always like to sit and to talk and, to be the most friendly possible and to get connected with these people. And like this, slowly, I got the connections with all the people around the world. And once I came back to live in Israel, it was like very naturally that people that I knew from the festivals in Europe, they started a production called Groove Attack. I started working with them, selling tickets to Groove Attack, starting to take more and more part of the production, helping them around the behind the scenes. In 2013, we did the Satya Festival in Israel. In the same time, I was working with Moksha. We did the Indigo Festival in Israel. So I got also to look and to have my experience on the production side. And like this, it was naturally to come and work with the Moksha guys in Sun Festival when in the two first editions I was managing the entrances. So it was another aspect for me to learn. And like this, slowly, it got to a position that I know most of the artists and most of the promoters and everybody are in good contact with me. And after Sun Festival 2014, that from FM and from Eliran's side, I was doing for him a lot of troubles because I was managing the entrances in Sun Festival and I was super difficult and not letting people in and working completely by the book.
Wait, I want to rewind back before you get into all that stuff. I want to rewind back early on when you were in the scene. Leaving Israel for the first time and going to Mexico and meeting people from all these different countries. I know for me, like I was introduced to so many people from around the world just from coming into psytrance when I was 18 years old. I kind of got to be out of my little cultural bubble, and I got to know all these amazing like similarities, especially in New York City, where like most of the people that are coming to the parties over there are from different parts of the world. It's this global. Not a lot of people get introduced to psytrance in New York City because it's such a small scene, but a lot of people come from other countries. There's so many like cultural similarities. I know specifically like between Israelis and Brazilians with the way like the mentalities like, and it's just so much fun to like be able to talk about all that stuff and meet those people and be like, hey, sometimes we're scared. We're scared to meet people outside of our culture. It's uncomfortable like at first. It's like, who are these people? You know, especially if you come from like certain backgrounds where like we're closed off and they tell us everybody else is kind of whatever, and then you tend to realize they're just people like us, kind of thing, and we have like we like the same music and this and that. So it's just like I want to hear a little bit maybe about your experience with that.
It's exactly like this because in the end of the day, we all have the same interest that it's the psytrance scene. So yeah, so even if I meet somebody from another country, from Brazil or from US or from Mexico, we have the conversation topics. Know how to speak about the music we like. We know the labels we like. We know the productions we like. We know the festivals we like. So yeah, it's a natural connection. Once you go into the psytrance scene and you have somebody there speaking not your own language, but a language that you can understand, if it's English or if it's Spanish, and like this, sit hours and hours and after hours and and after parties and just sitting and talking to the people. And of course, as you are stranger to their country, you're a foreigner, so of course everybody will want to come and, hey, yeah, you're that foreign guy, so let's sit down and speak with the foreign guy. Yeah, if he's from Israel, maybe DJs, all the big DJs are from Israel. So it was, even when I was in Mexico, immediately, also because the people I was hanging around with, And immediately, I was hanging around with the DJs and the party promoters, and until today, I know most of the Mexican scene super good, from Omix to Chove to Arturo Maya. Been to all their houses. I know the families. I've been in all the parties much before I started working with them as a booking agent. So the connection was always natural. And once you're a nice person and you're interacting with another nice person, that in the end of the day you just have the common sense, and you want to get to the same goal, that it's bringing the psytrance up. So in the end of the day, it's always easy. It's even easier to talk to people from other countries as a foreigner than speaking to the people in your own country, because in every country there are groups and there are cliques, and there are the closed groups, if it's for some production or some label or some DJs. And you as a foreigner, you can break all these concepts, and and you can get into all these groups and be friend with everybody when they have their political fights between them, between the parties or between the DJs. But you are there on a natural base, because you're a foreigner and you come from a country that everybody know that it's the psytrance country, and everybody are looking for the DJs from your country and for the culture. And I don't know, I was just, for me it was super interesting to sit and to get the knowledge from these people, to get the knowledge about how the Mexican DJs live, how the Mexican promoters live, how
Yeah.
do they do their parties, how do they decide their lineups, on what basis do they decide, where to do the party, which DJs to bring, and how to create the concept.
Right.
So after many, many years, sitting and talking to all these people, and in Europe, of course, sitting in the festivals, and tons of people, but in the end of the day, yeah, you will meet somebody that is from the production, or somebody that doing something in the production, and you will sit with him. And once you are friends and once you are good with him, of course the way is much easier, to get in, once the people trust you and they know exactly what you're worth in your experience.
Yeah.
So for me, it was this was the way, because I started from partying like every normal person, and just being curious, and always want to know more, and always want to meet more people, and always want to know more, have more knowledge about the things.
Yeah,
And something.
that's so crazy. I just want to like dive in. Like, it's so. I've been to Israel a bunch of times throughout my life. I was born there, um, and but I didn't get into psytrance until a little later. I even lived in Israel before I got really into psytrance. I liked some electronic music, but I didn't know much about the scene. I was about 17, and then the next year or two, I got into psytrance in the United States through like Israeli friends and stuff. And when I went back there later on, like when I was already DJing and stuff like that, I'm like, dude, this is like pop music here, you know? Like this is like the house music is in America. This is psytrance is what it is in Israel. And it was just such a it was a weird experience, man. Cuz like there's like this I was talking about with Gary on the last show. It's like there's different there's the people that come from it that like found it by mistake, you know, that are like, but it's like this subculture and they push in like extra hard to make like a ritualistic event in a small town, maybe like somewhere like Munich, or even in New York, where is not a really a big scene. But and then there's a difference between that's like the popular thing to do there. That's like either you like it or you don't, but everybody knows it's going on even if you're not into it. And that's like it was so weird, but I kind of missed that aspect when I was at parties in Israel, of that like family vibe. People are really going because this is what they love doing, whereas people in Israel sometimes are going, they're not, it's just something to do, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Do you know
but
what I'm saying?
it depends on the years, because with the years, of course, we've seen the commercialization and the capitalism coming into the scene. And because we started as a really, as a hippie scene, and everybody was like only peace and love, and when you come to a parties and everybody's nice, and everybody just come to hang out and to meet people and to dance. And Today it's not the situation, because as big acts came big and as commercial events went big all over the world, and the psytrance scene, yeah, some of it took the step into the commercial scene, and even much before when the parties got big. And it's not about you going to party and to get into trance. It was like a mainstream event that, yeah, this is happening, so we need to go there. It doesn't matter if we do drugs or we take LSD, or we drink vodka Red Bull. This is the thing to be. This is the happening, and there we need to be. And then you started seeing, yeah, people that you didn't used to see in the psytrance scene, and people that come, to drink their vodka Red Bull, or coming, with all today, everybody coming with their black clothes that they bought here and there with the straps and the leather. And it became much more commercial for
Yeah.
one side. And yeah, the psytrance is still there and the music is still there, but also the music is not, it's not already the artist that bringing stories and telling you a stories. It became much more of idolization of, yeah, this is a big artist and we need to bring a big artist because we need to sell tickets. So
Right.
even if we bring a 24 hours party, so instead of bringing six DJs that each one of them play 4 hours like we used to do in the old days, that you came and you got a full concept of a DJ and you got the full story. And yeah, you could run for 3 hours, with the same DJ playing with you and telling you his story in his way. And it's not only in Israel. Yeah, it became that, as much names that you got on the lineup, as much foreigners that you got on the lineup, as much slots that you can bring in, even if it's 1 hour slot each in a 24 hours party. This is
Right.
not psytrance.
Yeah, it. I don't see it. I don't see it as such a terrible thing. It's just my opinion, because like when you have a commercialization of a scene, it doesn't mean that the old way dies out. Like you could still have those underground parties. You can still have those nature events that's like kind of more a little bit more exclusive, where people, everybody that's going is into it, like is a part of the culture, and I know there's still a lot of that in Israel, Mesibat Teva, like
There is a lot all over the world, but
yeah.
this is something that you need to be connected and you need to know. Because of course, yeah, you can, in each country you can go to the biggest festival, see the biggest names and say, oh, okay, but I didn't like the crowd or the production because it was too big or too massive. But then you come to a place like Ozora or Boom Festival, and you get the same feeling like the old days, because all the freaks are there and all your friends from around the world are there, and the music is psychedelic, and you can spend 7 days in the dance floor without even feeling it, because you're into the thing and you're connected into the
Yeah.
psytrance, and this is the
And
psytrance core. And even if in these big parties that bring lots of DJs all over the world, you can still find your own corner and you can still find the sets that you will like. And yeah, and it's not something bad, because it's not saying that the party is shit. It says the party is not in the old school concept that we know. But yeah, it's the next level, it's the next step. And still you will enjoy, and still you will see your
yeah,
friends.
it's
And
just
yeah,
it's just different.
maybe you will not have the maybe you will not have the psychedelic happening in the psychedelic trip or journey, because this is not the place for it. But yes, you can find in other places the exactly what you're looking for. Let's say, now in the COVID-19 area, I went to one underground party in the forest, 400 people in the rain, no no production, no nothing, two sets of turbo sound, and a DJ that stands even behind the crowd, and the crowd is dancing to the speakers, in front of the speakers. And this was something, that for me it blew my mind, because yeah, suddenly I was again there in this psychedelic happening, and with DJs that don't have a name but playing super psychedelic music. And you can go there and and find yourself again in this psytrance and get the whole psychedelic experience.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
in Israel in Israel today, and something that I'm feeling that these kind of parties today are going much more into the psychedelic nighttime music, because if you bring today, you can bring, the world most selling artist, but your crowd will say to you, yeah, this is not psychedelic, but they will still buy the tickets. But if you can come and bring them a lineup that they don't know the DJs, but they are trusting you and trusting your crowd and your experience and coming to whatever you will bring them, and you bring them a full psychedelic journey and a full psychedelic experience, for me, it's something that I will remember and I will take with me for a long time, because this is something that I grew up on the hippie acid psychedelic scene. And
Yeah.
this is something that I don't encounter a lot. And when I come to a place like this guy is called Dakhlil, and I stand there, from 2 a.m. until 9 a.m. dancing in the rain, and and don't even see who's playing because the DJ is behind me, and I get all this psychedelic experience with my friends, with the crowd that coming, to dance as one, and they doesn't care who's playing or which track is playing or which deck is playing, and they come for the full experience. And
Yeah.
that is something that I think a lot of the psychedelic people are missing and are looking exactly for this thing, because we have the festivals in the summer. The festivals are full psychedelic and it's always the happiest time of the year. But you want in your hometown, in your home country, to get the same experience like you used to,
But here's the thing.
because you grew up on this thing and you want to.
One thing I wanted to mention, there's a difference. Even though Boom and Ozora are such massive events, they're big. When I went to Boom, like it wasn't just like you could tell, like just from the little minute details that these people put in so much love into this thing. Like this isn't. You can tell when you go to and I'm sure you even better than me. Having been to much more parties around the world, you can tell when something is like a commercial production, because maybe they're putting all their budget on these massive big artists, and like there's just a couple decorations on the stage, that maybe is also very expensive high tech visuals or whatever it is. But when you come to a place like Boom and you see little stuff coming out of the grass, in little villages, and like all these many people contributing to something that has been 2 years, and these porter potties that are made out of that everything is recycled, that they recycle your shit, you know what I mean? Like you could feel the love for like the culture, not just and it's not just the music, like also the music. They're booking all kinds of psychedelic artists that are playing low key parties, that aren't playing, most of them aren't playing huge commercial events. They're like part of like the, so it's kind of like this coming together of those like underground smaller parties. It's almost like this unification. Whereas maybe something like Electric Zoo or whatever it is, even if they have like a couple psytrance artists coming in, it's a different experience. You could tell once you experience something like Boom and Ozora and these underground nature parties that are like 100 people, 70 people, 300 people, and you go to these, you could feel the difference of the vibe. It's like it kind of ruins that experience. Whereas when I was 17 and I went to go see a big artist, someone like Armin van Buren or even Infected Mushroom coming in, like on a main, there's no decoration at these parties. This is a this is a money pit, for the young people that haven't maybe found that yet, or they enjoy that stuff, whatever it is. I'm not like,
It's another kind of experience, because when you're coming and you know that you're going to a party like this, you're not coming on the same state of mind that you're coming to an underground party or to the festivals in Europe. Because as you said, when you go to Boom Festival, when you go to Ozora, they have a vision and you see it all around the place. It's not only the main acts on the main floor, it's the art galleries, it's the side stages, it's the lectures, it's the sacred fire. It's this whole complex of things that it's a psychedelic journey. Because for me, Boom and Ozora, it's the ultimate psychedelic playground. They give you everything and they think about everything and they plan everything so you can come and have the best time of your life and don't need to worry about anything. And
Yeah,
for
and it's
this,
not expensive
these two
either.
productions, and for this, for me, these two productions and many others, if it's sci-fi, if it's Antares, if it's Vuvo of the old days, if it's many other festivals that still keep the spirit, Lost Theory, Space Safari, Modem, of course. It's people that they give everything they have for all around the years so you can come for 1 week at their site and have your ultimate experience and you will not need to worry about anything, and this is everything in their vision, and for this I have so much respect and so much appreciation for these people that making it and putting their vision for us to have the each year or each couple of years, so we have the psychedelic playground when we can come and lose ourselves and and find our souls once again.
Yeah.
And this is something that for me, I am so thankful that we have this kind of festivals and this kind of gatherings that we can still see our friends from all around the world, come party together, come dance together, enjoy together, and go home for another years thinking that, yeah, next summer I will go to the same place and I will meet the same people and it will be the same awesome.
Yeah, yeah, for
And this
sure.
is something, this for me, it's like it's a bright of hope each year that, yeah, comes the summer and I'm gonna see all my friends and I'm gonna see all the DJs and I can go and drink beers with Daksi and Emiel on Ozora or hanging out with Kabayun in Boom and seeing the Elfic Pizza guys and seeing all the shopkeepers and all the production and the finance people and the stage manager, that it's everybody, it's people that you work with each year and you have such close connection with, that you come and you know exactly what you're gonna get, and you know that it will be the best. Because for me, when I take the ride from Budapest airport to Ozora or from Lisbon airport to Boom to Boom, and I go through the gates, for me it's like I'm home. I
Yeah.
I I I pass the gates of Boom Festival and I say, guys, I'm home. Here
This
I
was,
am.
I got to tell you a little story. Like I had a friend who was into psytrance, not really a big part of the community, but before I ever got into it, um he told me to come along to this other festival, only like 1,000 people. He's like, come. He's like, and I heard of psytrance, like I knew what it was. I knew like a couple artists, but I didn't know like there was a scene for it. Like I didn't know. And he invited me. He's like, Izzy, and I'm like, it's all psytrance music. Like that's a thing. And he's like, yeah, it's all psytrance. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can handle that, dude. And he's like, Izzy, for 3 days, the tent is your home and the people there are your family, and that's what it's about. And I'm like, and that's what sold me to come, and this changed my life forever. This was in 2009. And it was a small party. It wasn't even, I don't want to say the name because it wasn't even like the best production behind the scene, but it was awesome, dude. I had the best time of my fucking life, dude. And it's funny. Like originally, I went to see, there was a big act that was headlining there that I knew that I was a big fan of. That's like kind of what pushed me to go, but I left. I'm like, man, I don't give a shit about that act. I want to hear that other stuff. And I got introduced to like Cosmosis and Space Tribe and like all these other great, to the actual real psytrance music. I was like, dude, this stuff is awesome, bro. And the people here are freaking. And you could talk to the artist. I was like starstruck because I'm used to like going to big concerts. You don't get to talk to the artists, you know what I mean? But you get to, and this is what I also I fell in love with. This is why I'm doing this show today, because I want to talk to artists. I want to know what goes on in their head, bro. And I know a lot of other people do too.
This is for me this is the best thing, that you can come to a psytrance party and, yeah, you can go into the dance floor and party, and yeah, on your right will be GMS, on your left will be Ace Ventura, behind you will be Earthling, and yeah, and everybody there is partying together with you, because it's also their core. They come from the dance floor. So
Dude.
they will come and be at the dance floor, and they will, and for me this is the most beautiful thing to, that I come into the dance floor and I see there the DJs standing and doing their thing, and and partying with like every other person in the crowd. That, yeah, as you said, when you go to see Armin van Buren, or you go to see Tiesto, or you go to see, I don't know, DJ Diesel.
Yeah.
So
I want to tell a
it's
funny
something that,
story.
it's
Real.
beyond your reach. You say, oh, these guys are there and they are so big, and yeah, for sure I cannot go into the, to pass the security into the backstage and hang out with these guys. But in the psytrance, it's something that, yeah, if it's spaced like you just mentioned. I remember many parties with Oli in the dance floor, partying hard, having good times. Ace Ventura, that is one of my best friends, there's no festival or party that you will not see him in the dance floor. Even when you go to a small club party, and yeah, and somebody like Jump Street will play, and he will go and he will take videos and he will post them and he will comment about it and he will say, yeah, Jump Street was super good and it was psychedelic, and it's the essence of the scene. Because if you don't want to lose it and you still want to stay in contact with the crowd and still stay in contact with the music and with the genres today, we came from the dance floors, and this is the way to find them.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I want to share real quick. Funny you mentioned GMS in this scenario because I met him when he came to New York. I picked him up from the airport, so I got to spend time with him, and he came to play this party over here. Well, in New York, and I brought, I was playing that party too. I brought one of this intern from my corporate job, young guy who was like a junior in college, never been to a psytrance party in his life, and really funny guy, and I brought him to the party, and and he was kind of standing there like he was a fun kid, like he was having a good time. I think he took something maybe a little bit and that maybe for the first time or whatever, and he wasn't freaking out or anything, but he was just but that's who GMS went to go hang out with, like later on in his set as the party was going in the morning. He was giving the guy water. He was giving the kid water. I'm like, this kid had no idea who this guy was. This was what I heard of GMS when I was 15 years old. That Requiem for a Dream remix track. Like I was listening. This is big shit. Like this guy's a rock star. You know what I mean? Like he's living in Ibiza, making a living from the stuff for a long time, and like who's he hanging out with? He's not going backstage and eating sandwiches and getting a blowjob. Like, dude, he's hanging out. He's hanging out with this kid that's his first psytrance party ever, who has no idea who he is. You know what I mean? And that's who he wants to hang. Probably he wanted to hang out with him because he didn't know who he was. And like that's a normal thing. And that was like a funny sight for me. One thing I wanted to ask.
One thing, if we're on the GMS thing, you know, God rest his soul, Banzi, that he was one of the best people that I knew, And for me, I want to say again, to Rickton and to Banzi's family, that we guys love you so much and we cherish you so much. And, for us, GMS, it was one of our biggest acts, and the biggest person that I knew character wise. If it's Rickton, if it's Banzi, just want to send big love to them.
Yeah, for sure. Amen to that, dude. Amen to that. I wanted to ask you, based on your experience with working in different booking agencies and being a promoter, like what piece of advice, if someone wants to start throwing events anywhere in the world, what are some of the mistakes you don't want them to make that you see being made too often?
First of all, do it from your heart, because if the reason behind it is financially, it probably will not succeed. If it's something that you come and you put from your heart and your desire, and you start small and you do it for your friends, and slowly it becomes bigger, it's because that you're doing something good and the people can see it and the people can feel that you're putting your heart and soul into that thing, and the people will come with you. It doesn't matter which artist you bring, which decoration you bring. In the end of the day, you as promoter, you are the heart and soul of the production. And if the people will feel that you put your heart and soul inside, they will support you anyway. But for me, the two most important things in party, it's the sound system and the artist. Because in the end of the day, the music is and the dance floor is the heart of the party. And if the
Yeah.
people will not listen good to music, if the quality of the sound will be shit, you fucked up.
And
If you bring artists that don't
and
know how to mix and don't know how to present their own story and journey, this is the second thing that you will fall down. And yeah, and then people will come and say after this, okay, we went to the party, it was super nice, but we didn't like the music and the sound was shit, so we will not come back to this party. So in the end of the day, this is the heart. And you need to take care of the heart and put your heart and soul inside. And once the people around you and your friends will see exactly the pre- amount of effort that you put inside and you bring it as your vision, usually you will succeed. And usually you will run with the parties. And yeah, maybe even if in the first 3, 4 years it will be small ones, slower and slowly it will grow. As
yeah.
you don't go out of your, you're focused on your mission and you're doing it in your way and your vision, usually you will succeed. If people
Yeah.
will feel that you only charging big amounts of money for the ticket, but you don't give them what they expect and what they need in order to party and have the experience, they will not come back to your party.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And yeah, one thing there was you were saying a couple of things which really really important. I think it's good advice. I think yeah is I seen in a lot of scenes they have that struggle with finding that balance to like on one end you have the opposite of the spectrum. It's all about love, but they don't want it to be anything about money. And some people are saying, well, they're making stupid investments. You know, they're spending a ton of money, and like we want it. And some people are just like all business. You know, and like where do you find like the balance in that? Because we have to live in planet Earth where money is a situation, like, but you have to also be willing to take that risk, you know? And maybe you're not always going to get the respect, you know? You have to be careful. Like, I see a lot of people, they do it for the respect, and not everybody's going to respect them. Everybody is going to complain about parties forever. And if that burns you out, what everybody thinks about your situations, it may not be the best situation for you. You do have to care a little bit, but sometimes you just like, it's it's not just do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think, today with the social media going so strong, of course, people can complain much more. People can say exactly what they want. If in the old days, when you got the party promotion by email or by SMS to your phone, and you didn't know who's the promoter and you don't have where to complain, you don't have a complaint box. And today with the social media, yeah, everyone has his own opinion. Same about psytrance, same about everything else. Everybody have his own opinion, and they will fight for their opinion, and they will think that they know the best and they are right. And exactly like the time that we see now with the COVID. And it's the same with parties because yeah, some people will complain about Ozora, some people will complain about Boom, some people will complain about Antares, some people will complain about I don't know one event that nobody is complaining because the people today they are customers, and once you are a customer you expect to have exactly what you expected and what you wished because you paid a lot of money to for a ticket, so you want to get the full experience as you expected it. And if something is not as you expected or something happened that you didn't like, yeah, you have the place to go and bash it online and and pour all your evil and all your thoughts into a post about some poor promoter that just try to make people happy and try to create an environment for people to come and dance and enjoy. And instead of this, because he had one or two fuck ups that it's not even fuck ups, it's something that the people expected something else, and they will go and bash him online and say everything they want about him.
Yeah.
But for this, we as a scene, we need to support the promoters. We need to support the artists. We need to be the ones
But
that stand behind them.
do you think we always need to support the promoters? Like if they're doing shady stuff, you know what I mean? Like if they're doing behaviors that you know for sure that you don't think should represent the scene, like you don't have to go to their parties. Like let them have their, you know, it's just really weird. Like I feel like they do have a responsibility, but also like if people, this is what I say, what I've told promoters, like people are complaining about your event, like it's important to at least listen to what they have to say because it might make your event so much better. You don't have, because there's one extreme, it's like, oh, you're so hurt and you don't want to do it anymore. Your feelings are very hurt because because these couple people clowned on your event, and some people are saying don't listen to them, they're just whiny. But there's truth in everything, you know what I mean? And like it's important to be able to analyze it. Yeah, some people are always going to be like, it's not like the old ways, it's not like the old, oh, you know, tough luck, you know. But some people have like real criticism.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance. And when it's, it's a construction, I don't remember the word, constructional,
Constructive criticism.
when people, exactly, it's constructive criticism. And when it's constructive criticism, yeah, there is always place for constructive criticism. And, because it's something that help you grow and help you understand what's wrong. But there is one thing that it's constructive criticism, and other thing is just bashing and trolling about things that that the promoter don't have in his hand, and it's not his responsibility or nothing that he can do. If you go and bash a festival about police coming in, or about about their security checkings, it's not something that the festival can handle. It's not something that the festival can come, or the party come and break the law in their own countries in order for you to be happy. So there's always being reasonable and understand what these promoters are going through, because let's say there are promoters that doing parties and festival not in their countries, when it's even harder, when you have to face all the bureaucracy and all the rules and laws of a different country than your own, and a different culture than your own. But also when it's in your country, there are a lot of rules. And let's say here in Israel, to make a legal party, a licensed party here in Israel, it's one of the hardest things in the world. The amounts of money that you need to pay to police, to security, to ministries of the government, it's ridiculous. And in the end of the day, after you put all your effort and soul, and you paid millions of shekels from your pocket, and the police come and say, you gotta put the fence here, or you don't have party, and then people will come and complain, yeah, but there was this fucking fence that we didn't like and it breaks the vibe. So this is not constructive criticism, because it's something that you, in order to make this event and in order to bring the people, it's something that they demand from you. And if people will come and bash you on it, you don't have nothing else to do but just tell them, look, guys, this is what the police are asking me in the licensing. This is something I have to do. It doesn't matter if you like it or you don't like it. If you don't like it, I will not put it. There will not be party. Everybody stays home. So,
Right.
there are two sides of the coin to everything, because in the end of the day, yeah, we do the parties, and the promoters are doing the parties in order to make the people happy, but they have to stand in the rules of the country. And in each country, the rules are different. And yeah, sometimes the crowd will not like it. But this is something that if it will not happen, there will not be an event.
Yeah, it's a good example. It's a good example. Going into a little bit of a pivot topic, because you have so much experience with working with booking agencies and being behind the scenes, being maybe on the side of the stage, maybe you can tell us some funny stories of stuff that happened to artists, or like, you know, I know a lot of people on the dance floor looking up. Sometimes a DJ is whispering to someone on the side, and then they are laughing. I'm sure so many people in that crowd are like, what the hell is that guy telling him? You know what I mean? Like they're so interested. Maybe what is this guy saying while I'm dancing to the set? Like, what do people talk about on stage?
one of the in one of the festivals I went, the last 2 summers that I could go. And in one of the events there was a DJ. He played like super long set. Was one of my DJs. And of course, I wanted to go and be with all my friends in the dance floor and enjoy. And the guy told me like, "Look, you are my friend, you are my agent. You will now. I need you to sit down here with me on stage and take videos in my phone. When I make you the sign, you come to me, you take my phone, you do the video, you go back to sit." And it's one of my best friends. So for this, I will tell him yes. But then I find myself, rocking dance floor, one of the biggest ones and the most crazy that you see. Yeah, and I'm sitting there in the side of the stage with the festival owner and the stage manager, and smoking joints and drinking. But in the end of the day, I'm sitting there and and I'm not in the dance floor. And the 2 days after, when he came to play a second set, I told him, "You remember what happened yesterday? Bye." And I'm on the dance floor. And there was so many stories like this. I had one DJ that he finished his set. He went to do some no matter what.
Okay.
And I couldn't find him anymore. Couldn't find him. It's a party. It's not a festival. It's a day party. And I'm going all around the party and I'm looking for him and looking for him. And nobody's seen him. Yeah, he finished his 3 hours DJ set, but already 1 hour nobody's seen him. And I went, and I'm looking for in all the party, and I going into the parking lot, and he didn't even come with me. He come in a different car, and I come to my car to look for a jacket, and I just see the guy like lying next to my car, full K-hole. After 4 hours that everybody looking for him, and when we come to the parking, and he's there like completely fucked up. And we had to take him, of course, and and to see that everything is fine, and take him here, take him there, until he got all together. I remember, I think the same one. We played some party, and he finished to play, and he didn't want to go into the crowd, so he just, he went under the mixing desk, and he was just sitting under the mixing desk. And the other DJ was playing, and he was just sitting under the mixing desk, and all the party is coming. What's happened to him? Did he fall down? Did he fell out? He passed out? What happened to him? He got fucked up. And we're like, no, the guy just lying down according to the bass, and he's feeling the bass.
Yeah, I
It's
know
a,
that story.
and another guy, that he didn't want to go out. He didn't want to come out of his tent. He was supposed to play a closing set on one of the biggest festival, and I don't know what he took before, but he just didn't want to come out of his tent. And
So
we
what you
had to
guys
stand
do?
there free, and we had to stand there, me and another few people, and just convince him to come out of his tent because he need to play, and he need to play now. And he didn't agree with us. And of course, and we sent in, another DJ, and he started shouting and cursing the other DJ that it was his friend. And in the end, one Hungarian friend just put him out and took him to the stage. And and his eyes, each eye going to other side, and the festival owners standing there and looking on us like, okay, what's gonna happen now? And I think he fucked up the first 3 mixes when we already getting, the looks of, okay, this is the last time he play here. For after 3 mixes, he came back into himself, and it was one of the best sets of the festival. And of course, the promoter come to us in the end and look, I cannot give up on this guy, and he will play again next year. And it's a guy that, yeah, he fuck. There was a lot of fuck ups,
But in the end of the day, he's a nice person and the people love him and they love to party with him and he will always deliver. No matter in which state he will be, in the end of the day, he will go there on the decks and he will deliver the best set possible. And they will always love it for him. There are many DJs in artists in this scene that are playing not because of their music or what they release, but because the persons they are and the characters they are. And there are people and characters in this scene that are so lovable that it doesn't matter how many times he will fuck up or he will miss a plane or he will not get to the gig or something else. But in the end of the day, they love the person. And he will be there and he will be nice with them and he will give them all his love and they will bring him because he's part of the party. It's not an artist that, yeah, we bring this artist for his music, he plays live 1 hour by. No, it's somebody that they want him there and they want him there from the beginning of the party until the end of the party because he's fun to be with.
Yeah.
And
But
this
is
is
sometimes
this is
but
what makes it
sometimes
possible.
but sometimes you don't think it crosses a line, even if they're fun and loving, like there has to be some kind of, it doesn't make problems, like especially on the booking agency side, like, hey, like this guy didn't show up to his flight. Like we've had situations like that in New York where big artists, man, they just decided not to come, and it really screwed over the promoter because they couldn't just lower the price of the ticket. They paid half the booking fee. They didn't get the money back, like it could create a lot of problems, you know?
Yeah, but look, if the artist and agent are honest and and they want to be okay with the promoter, there are many ways, to return money, to book another gig when the artist buy the flight. There are many ways and many solutions, for everything. To bring another artist, and after, the agency and the agents will have to switch the money. There are a lot of things to do. In the end of the day, you as an agent, you have to be there for your artist and for the promoter and find the best solutions.
Right.
And yeah, if an artist didn't show up, but the next party showed up as you agreed with the promoter and he will deliver and it will be a killer set and the promoter will come back, this is something that worth more than an artist that came, play and go, because these are the connections between the artists, promoters, agents, and crowd. And once it comes to a friendly basis, to a friendly relationship, everything is much easier.
Yeah. It's sometimes the miscommunication that's what ruins it. The miscommunication and people losing their tempers that could ruin that situation because they're not listening. They're not letting the people
In
speak
the
their
end of
mind.
the day, we are all human beings, and problems happen, and mistakes happen. There's not one person in the world that it's free of mistakes and never did a mistake in his life and always was like this. In the end of the day, it's about the relationship between artist, promoter, agent, crowd, and how they can interact together.
Do you ever have to tell artists, like, maybe sometimes they get the big shot thing going? You'd be like, hey, there are so many artists that would love this position, especially when you were working at FM bookings. Like, you guys had the top biggest acts, FM, and did you ever have to, like, tell them, like, hey, listen, you're replaceable, man. No matter how good your music is, there's so many great artists out there. Like, do you have to
I will
have
not.
to?
I will never say it in these words because the artists, they are also very, very, they are very sensitive. And don't forget that each artist have his own project, his own business, and this is what he cares about. And this is what he cares about, and he cares about the gigs that he have and how he is seen and his image in the scene and in the promoter's eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you cannot go and tell artists, look, you are replaceable. But yeah, but you need to let them understand that yeah, maybe here we demand too much money, maybe here we demand too much, and maybe for this they will not book you. But yeah, but if I'm as an agent will go and tell my artist, look, you're replaceable, I will not have any artists.
Yeah, maybe it's a good thing I don't work in booking agencies. I probably would have a much less patience. Then maybe that's why you were doing that. You know, you it sounds like you have a lot of patience
It's
for
a
it.
lot of politics. It's a lot of politics, a lot of patience. You have to know exactly each one, his character, his personal issues, what he likes, what he don't like. It's a process. Because for an agent and an artist to work in symbiote, and be perfect together, each one need to do his own sacrifices. And you cannot demand or go in power and threat on people or and promoters or artists. And you cannot tell artists, look, you're replaceable, and now somebody else will take your slot, because then you're not a good agent. You have to be there for your artist. You have
Right.
to do the best for them, and to let them understand and feel that they are the most welcome, and and you are there to do everything for them and to take care of them.
Yeah, but it's like, but sometimes they could take advantage of that. That's what I'm. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes they could take advantage of that. So it's
Of course
hard.
they can take advantage, but if you're an agent, it's not your job to decide which artist will perform, because there's a promoter and he's paying the money, and he can decide exactly who he want and who he don't want. And
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe if you ask too much money, so he will tell you, look, let's skip it this time, and he will go and take somebody else.
So
But it's not
how does
not
the
your decision to come and tell him.
how does the process work, like from start to finish, like when it comes to like a promoter? So a promoter contacts maybe an artist or per se. The artist tells them to go through you guys, or how
Yeah,
does
of
it
course.
generally work?
An artist will always tell to go to his agency, or all the promoters that know the agencies, they are already contacting directly the agency. Most of the artists, in all their Facebook or their website, they have always, for bookings, contact this and this email. So they will not take decisions by themselves. Once you have an agency, it's the agency's job to bring you the best conditions and to bring you to your dedicated slot in the lineup, and to make sure that you will have the best experience as an artist. You will play
Yeah.
the slot that you want, you will have the hotel that you want, the flight that you want. And this is something that it's you and the promoters that you need to get to where it works for everybody. Because if the promoter doesn't worth to bring an artist, he will not bring it. And he will not pay money on flights and fees and hotels and logistics if an artist doesn't bring in the crowd or the amount of tickets he wants, or the artist is not compatible with his lineup, or it's different kind of music than his crowd want. So in the end of the day, again, it's a relationship, and it's important to know the promoters not as a businessman, but as a friend, and make the relationship with the same promoter to understand exactly what his crowd is expecting, what he is expecting, and what is the exact concept and vision that he has. So you can bring him the most compatible artist for his vision and his event, which will make the event good. Because if you brought him an artist and the event didn't sell, and it was a complete chaos, and the promoter will just not make parties anymore. So you lost, the promoter lost, the artist lost. Yeah, maybe he got fee one time, but this promoter now will not make parties anymore, and he lost more gigs with him in the future. So in the end of the day, it's the relationship, and it's about knowing the persons and the characters, and know exactly what they are looking for and what are the goals and visions that they have in their head.
Yeah.
As they are the ones putting the money, it's important that they get what they want.
Right. That makes sense. I wanted to talk about, you mentioned before we started recording that you looking to start your own personal agency. I mean, you've left FM. What's the vision, and how is it going to be? what inspired this idea? Maybe something that perhaps you have a little bit of a different vision, not to knock it, but you have a little bit of a what's that different vision that you have from where you worked at FM to what you want to build now?
The different vision is that, for many years I worked for other people, and I was working in many companies and many big companies and big names in the scene, and always I was working for somebody else. In the last 6 years in FM booking, it was the best school, and for this I'm so grateful and so appreciating FM booking that gave me this platform and this stage and taught me so well how to do the booking business, that today, yeah, especially today with the corona and everything, I felt that I worked for many for other people for a long time, and it's time to be my own boss. And yeah, if I know how to do it and I have all the connections and I'm a friend with most of the scene, and have such good relationship with them. So yeah, I think that after 6 years that that I gave really everything that I had, it's
Sure.
time to start doing the things by myself and
Um,
start doing the things for my own, as my company, as my agency, to go and see if really I can succeed by my own, under my vision and my goals and my way of work, that maybe it will be the same as FM, maybe it will be different than FM,
yeah.
but
What kind of
it will be
artists?
my vision and my goals and my decisions.
What kind of artist are you looking to get? Like just as big as like in because I know FM holds like some of the biggest names in the scene, and certain artists, but like which kind of artist are you looking for? Because I know you mentioned that you really have a love for the underground part of things. So are you looking to go more towards like a like no like up and
Of course in the
coming?
beginning, of course, I will not go with big artists, and of course I will not go in. It's not my, it's not what I want to go and to step on other people, and I want to do the things the nicest way. So of course I will not go and take artists from other agencies or artists that are already have agreements with other people, because these people are also my friends. And I don't want to get into their legs and hurt them, because they have the same right to do it the same as me. But there are still lots of freelancer artists in the scene, and I have already people that they want to go with me and they put their trust in me. And in the end of the day, I want to work with people that I like to work with, and nice persons that we connect on a based on our character, or not on business based, people that I feel very comfortable with, and that I know that me and the promoters and the scene will be comfortable, will be humble with, and will come and always do their best, no matter which status they are in, or which flight they are flying, or which fee they are having. In the end of the day, it's a symbiote, and we want everybody to be happy and everybody to succeed. Artist, promoter, agency, decoration, VJ, we want that everybody have the place.
That sounds
And for
awesome.
this, it's important to work with people, that share your vision and share your mentality, that they know exactly what they expect from you and what they expect from them, and you can work on a nice, friendly basis with lots of smiles and no dramas and no powers and no threats, to be as nice as possible to everybody, and that everybody will work on a nice income base, and will enjoy working with each other.
What's
Of course, I cannot tell you, names of artists, because
yeah,
this is
it's
something that will come later. But I'm really, I'm very happy from the support that I get from everybody, and I don't I don't say, okay, I will go and do progressive, or I will go and do forest, because I like psytrance and I like it, from the lowest BPM to the highest BPM. It's if it's Kinzaza, or if it's I don't know, Dinox Beckers that playing more techno.
Right.
I connect to all the genres of psytrance and the electronic music, and for this, I'm open to take people even from the chill out or from each scene and kind of music that I will think that it's appropriate and it's something that can be good for these psychedelic gatherings.
Absolutely. And those are my favorite parties, by the way. Like, even though I am Sangoma artist and this is more of the style that I'm enjoy playing the most, like, but if you are gonna put me on at a festival, like between two full on artists, I'm not gonna go and play nighttime music, you know? And it's also like I love the festivals where I don't want to hear my style the whole time. Like I'm gonna get bored, man. I don't want to hear progressive the whole time for sure, but I want to hear a little bit of everything, and I want to be able to go to the chill out stage when I like this is to me is my favorite part. And you know what? Some people like going to parties that it's high tech the whole time, or it's night groovy nighttime the whole time. Like those are cool parties too. But for me personally, I enjoy like where it's just because it's kind of going beyond the music. If you don't like the music, don't go to the dance floor. There's so much other stuff to do, chill out, like go cook something. I freaking love hanging out by the tent and cook and barbecuing, you know what I mean? Sometimes I rather do that than go on a dance floor, you know what I mean? Like there's space for it all, for sure.
My favorite place is always the dance floor because everything is happening in the dance floor. All the connections, all the fun experiences. Most of them are happening in the dance floor because this is where people are in the state of having fun and and to connect and to bring out from themselves the best parts. So this is for me always the dance floor. I can tell you last Boom Festival I was 7 days and it's sad to say it, but I haven't been to the alchemy stage, the alchemy circle. I haven't been to the chill out. I've been 7 days in the main floor, in the dance
Yeah,
temple,
that's
because
okay too.
that's where I belong. This is what calling me, and for me the dance floor is always the dance temple is calling me, it's attracting me, and I don't have any reason to go out from there because this is where everything happens.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, to each his own, right? And this is like that's it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, but I respect everybody who's doing that. You know what I mean? I look up. I look. Not only do I respect, I look up to it. You know what I mean? Because I don't always have that energy. Sometimes I don't want to dance. I want to hang. This is why I'm doing this. It's like one thing I miss actually the most about going to parties is being able to talk to people and learning about their background and hearing their life story. Like these are the best some of the most memorable experiences that I've had, because I could listen to the music in my house and and uniting on the dance floor during a great set. I'm very picky about the music, and it's not that I'm knocking, it's just this just what goes into my ears. Like I'm just very sensitive to that, and it's hard to hear conversations sometimes on the dance floor, and it's not even meant sometimes for conversation. Sometimes it's like, don't talk to me during the set, bro. Like dance, we call it dance floor etiquette. Like if someone's not responding back to you on the dance floor, stop talking to them, bro. Let them dance. You know what I mean? And yeah, this I wanted one last thing that I wanted to that I thought about to ask you.
So wait, before this, it's
Yeah.
like I can tell you that let's say Daksi and Emiel, that today they are very very good friends of me, and we are almost in a daily call. We are calling each other each day and speaking, and also Emiel and Daksi. Emiel, I met him I think first time in Ozora, and we sat and when we spoke and we brought ideas and you connect on a level that you cannot connect on chat or on a phone calls because there you are meeting the person face to face and you're drinking a beer with him and you're sitting with him and his girlfriend and having laughs and gags and this is the way to know people, this is the way to build relationships. And yeah, if I'm rocking together with Daxi in any festival or in a moksha party, there I will connect with him much more than I connect with him, through emails or chats.
Yeah.
These are the experiences that define us and define our statuses and our relationships.
it's not the best way to communicate, especially on threads on social media. And I've talked about this on some of the other shows with the other people. Like, people are fighting a lot and this and that, but like, you don't get to see the person behind the computer who you're talking to. Like, it's not authentic. Even texting with people that you know for years, it's like you're not getting their facial expressions. You don't get to see how excited they are about something or what they mean sometimes with a joke, you know, because you were talking with me is we have this, I have this sense of humor, is a New York sense of humor, but if I'm giving that out on social media all the time, it's like some people are going to take that shit wrong, and like I forget about that. And it's like it's also a reason why I'm trying to keep my social media a little bit closer with people that like kind of understand me and know me, as opposed to like accepting every friend request that I get, you know, like. And but it's I miss that. Like, there's something that a human needs. As part of a human needs, we need community, we need people, and Zoom is the best way right now that we can do that, you know. Hopefully maybe one day, if people listen to this show and this podcast more, like, I can move somewhere a little bit more central where there's more artists coming in. I can have them in person in a nice little studio where I have a better background than some cheap tapestry of Jimi Hendrix. Although I love Jimi Hendrix, I'm gonna have a new one, by the way, coming in. You know, but like, where
Yeah,
we
but you
can.
know, this is something that, as an agent, and especially here in Israel, you know, that we were driving the artists, we were taking them to the parties, we were taking them to the hotels. So yeah, I got to know each and every one of the artists, you know, on a personal relationship. Because if now Dave Kabayun is coming to Israel, yeah, so for sure he will come to me and we will sit in my house. And you know, the last time he came, we went to a party. It was completely raining cats and dogs, and you know, they closed the party. They moved it to a club. So I tell David, okay, Dave, let's go to my house. You know, we hang out for a bit. You know, smoke some joints, hang out there with friends, and then we go to the party. And then exactly I have the time, you know, to sit with the artist and talk with them and understand where they coming from, and you know, who they are and what are the characters, and really get to know them, each and every one of them, until a phase that there was some artists that, you know, instead of coming and taking a hotel, they were coming and sleeping at my house, and we hang out together and we go see movies and we go to restaurants. And it was much more, you know, much more friends than business. Because when Atmos was coming to Israel, you know, it's directly I pick him up from the airport. He's sleeping in my house. We go and make like fear and loading for the whole week, and you know, and after the show, we stay in my house for a couple of days more, and we go and make balagan all over Tel Aviv.
Yeah, the
And
party
this
is
is the
just a
way.
small part of the experience for it, you know? Like, I've hosted a lot of
Exactly.
artists in New York, like a lot of people, and like, dude, sometimes the party is just like just a small part of it. I take them wherever they
It's an
want. I get to be
excuse.
a
The party
tourist.
is an excuse.
I get, yeah, and I get to be a tourist in my own country because none of my local friends want to go to the Empire State Building or the Brooklyn Bridge. We don't do touristy things. We hang out in the neighborhood. But when someone from overseas, you get to do all these things you never got to do before. And bro, when I next time I come to Israel to Tel Aviv, bro, I want to go immediately to some jachnun on Bograshov, bro. I want some jachnun, bro. That's one of the things of it, and a shokol v'sakit, bro. You know.
You know, for me, even if it's not my artist, let's say, you know, Giuseppe and Arjuna came to play in one event here, and we are FM didn't represent them in Israel, but we have such a good relationship and we know each other for such a long time, and you know, we are friends. So yeah, so they're sitting in the hotel and they're calling me, okay, Raz, you know, we know that, you know, you are in other agency, but we really want to go and get the best hummus and to hang out for a bit. For sure, you know, I take them to the hummus, I take them to Jaffa, I take them to the sea. Because in the end, it's not about business, it's about the human connections, and to
Yeah.
connect with nice persons that suits your character.
And exploring the world, man, and also watching people explore your place for the first time, you know, is also such a special experience. You know, people coming to New York City, you're there to represent, like, I'm there to represent like their first experience there, you know what I mean? And not all the time I was able to, because sometimes I had to work or whatever it is, but like I got the opportunity to like be able to do awesome things. Daksi came to my place like many times. It's how we became such close friends. And these are like the and going to different museums, and like some of my local friends that never been to a psytrance party in their life, they know Daksi Namorti with the dreadlocks because he hung out in my neighborhood with me. You know what I mean? Like they remember him. They're like, oh, the guy, like different friends of mine that have come, and it's also like I used to live in the hood, bro, like in Far Rockaway, like straight from the movies, and nobody's ever seen like a white guy with dreadlocks before, you know, like. But so it's so awesome to see people like the like you see like Jamaicans looking at him like never seen a white person with dreadlocks, and they're like yo Bumble Cloud man, what's going on, my brother, you know. And it's just an interesting like cultural clash, but in a very positive way that nobody ever talks about in the news, you know.
Another good example, one of the biggest festivals in Israel was Do Festival. And of course, last year it got canceled because of police and other things. And because I have, we did such a long way, and I know the art is so good. So even, when when the festival didn't happen, and somebody, and the festival crew is busy with their problems with the festival. So yeah, for sure I will be there, the one that they can call and say, look, Raz, we have a problem, and we have here 10 foreign artists that we cannot handle them at the moment. Can you come and take them and show them good time? Yeah, for sure. Then I come and I take Daksi, and I take a Iguana Naked Tourist and Vince Virtual Light and Rinkadink and Rhinosaurus, and picking them up from all over Tel Aviv. And okay, let's go to the restaurant and sit now 20 people in a zakene v'ayam in Yafa, and and eat good and laugh and smoke and drink. Because in the end of the day, it's important that these guys remember Israel as good place, and that they had good time, and they will always be happy to come back here.
Yeah.
And this is not doing only the agency and me a good service, it's doing to the country a good service, and then and for the Israeli psytrance scene. Because if an artist came here and the party canceled and he just got through in some hotel and nobody is taking care of him, he will feel a bit bad. So when they come, you want to be there for them. You want to be there for them, and that they will remember you, and they will always have good time with you. But let's say, the ex Dream Boys are coming, and immediately I get the phone, Raz, where are you? We need the path, we need this, we need this. And yeah, and they know that I will be there for them.
Yeah.
And they will know that this is our relationship, and I always will take care of them. And for this, they will always be happy to come and see me.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing I was talking about with Gary, like with Gary last time, is like every country has people like you know, from this scene, and it's like you can go anywhere, post on even a Facebook post like, hey, who's in this country right now, you know, like it's like, and people are gonna come out and hang out, you know what I mean, like just because you can already just start the conversation with music, and it might even go into like talking about South Park episodes or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like other.
Exactly. I was sitting with artists, like, I was sitting with artists seeing movies, and Ace Ventura, every time he come, we go to the cinema and we see Marvel movies, or Rinkadink is coming, and we have like our own shows and our own episodes that we see in some series and in the movies. So once you know each and every one of them, you know exactly what they like, what they don't like, and you know exactly what to bring them and what to do with them that they will love and they will be excited about.
Yeah, and some of them don't even want to go out. They just want to video games, bro. They just want to sit and play video games all day.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool with me.
You know, whatever it is. Yo, dude, thank you so much, man. I had a good time with you, man. It's
My
like
pleasure,
awesome.
brother.
Yeah, awesome, dude.